This is Camnet News. Thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. The top stories on our desk this evening. KANYAMA PF losing Member of Parliament tells the court that the UPND chants on voting day costed her performance. President HH returns home with renewed hope of recovering Zambia's economy. Dr. DENNY KALYALAYA Bank as Central Bank Governor. In international news, Sudan's BURHAN vows army reforms after coup attempt. And in sports news, Sports for Life embarks on a program to train sports managers. Let's take a breather. Join me shortly for the details.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Once again, thank you for joining us. The Lusaka Magistrate Felix Kauma has warned the state that he will dismiss a case in which Patriotic Front self-proclaimed National Commander Innocent Kalimanji and 3 others are accused of criminal trespass and assault if no progress is made at the next court sitting. This is in a matter in which Kalimanji, Donald Kampamba, James Sakala and Samuel Kapalamwe, all businessmen, are alleged to have on the 1st of May 2021 entered the Patriotic Front Secretariat with intent to annoy. When the matter came up before court Monday morning, the state informed Magistrate Kauma that they had difficulties in getting hold of their first state witnesses, Davis Wheeler, hence seeking for an adjournment.
On Monday, the 27th of September 2021, the Lusaka's Magistrate Court said it was going to discharge Patriotic Front's self-proclaimed National Commander, Innocent Kalimanji, and 3 others in a criminal trespass and assault case if the state failed to put its house in order and bring witnesses at the next court session. In this matter, Innocent Kalimanji, 40, of Lusaka's Salama Park area, is facing 3 counts of assault and 1 count of criminal trespass, while Donald Kapamba of Chawama, James Sakala of Matero, and Samuel of Chawama are facing 1 count of criminal trespass, which they all denied. The court was this morning scheduled to commence with trial. However, there were no witnesses before court. The prosecution team informed the court this morning that they had challenges with getting hold of their first witness, Davis Wheeler, the former Patriotic Front Secretary General. However, this submission made by the prosecution team prompted the magistrate presiding over the case, Felix Kauma, to send a strong warning that he will dismiss the case if no progress is made in the case at the next hearing. In this matter, the 4 allegedly stormed the Patriotic Front Secretariat during the welcoming event of former National Democratic Congress leader Chishimba Kambuli to the Patriotic Front on the 1st of May 2021. Allegations in the first count allege that the 4 accused persons, jointly and whilst acting together on the said date, entered the Patriotic Front Secretariat with intent to annoy. Meanwhile, in the 2nd and 3rd count, Kalimanji is on the said date accused of assaulting Teresa Sampa and Helen Mwaza, thereby causing them actual bodily harm. Trial is expected to commence on the 13th of October 2021. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Still in court, losing Patriotic Front KANYAMA candidate Elizabeth Phiri has told the Lusaka High Court that some voters in KANYAMA compound voted under stress to an extent that people that went with the mind of voting for the Patriotic Front ended up voting the opposite because of the chants caused by the UPND members. This is in a case in which Ms. Phiri is challenging the election of the UPND KANYAMA Area Member of Parliament Monty Chinkoli, citing violence, vote buying and bribery, among others. Miriam Kaimba once again brought us this report.
The Lusaka High Court on Monday commenced hearing the petition in which losing KANYAMA Patriotic Front candidate Elizabeth Phiri is challenging the election of Monty Chinkoli of the UPND. Ms. Phiri has petitioned the election of Mr. Chinkoli, alleging electoral malpractices, bribery, violence, vote buying, among others. In her testimony before court, she said the elections were not free and fair, even after the campaigns were suspended by the Electoral Commission of Zambia twice because of violence, hence the need to nullify the elections of Mr. Chinkoli. Ms. Phiri, a former Minister of Gender, testified that violence was allegedly caused by the UPND in KANYAMA during campaigns, and 2 members of the Patriotic Front were killed. She further testified that the said experience instilled fear in some of the would-be voters that they did not vote. Others voted under stress to an extent that those who came with a mind of voting for the Patriotic Front because of the chanting by UPND members in some polling stations, they ended up voting the opposite. In her conclusion, she states that if the elections are not nullified, it will set an example that one has to be violent to win an election, and by doing so, shall be killing democracy. Meanwhile, Mr. Chinkoli wants the court to dismiss the petition with cost because it was filed into court after 14 days in which it should have been filed as required by the law. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
We will continue to follow these petitions until the stories reach the logical conclusion. In other news, the opposition Golden Party of Zambia has described the return of political party cadres in streets, bus stations and markets as unacceptable. In a video statement, party president Jackson Silabwe says the Zambian people voted out this, and that is the least they expect from the UPND government, which has just been in government for a few weeks. The party has since urged the party president Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND leadership to find creative ways of empowering the members away from markets and bus stations.
The call by the UPND leadership, and to be specific, the call by Honorable Oves Mwaliteta, the Lusaka province UPND chairperson, that the UPND cadres should return to the markets and bus station leaves a very bad taste in the mouth of us, the Zambian people, including us stakeholders. For us, we see it as the return of the abuse of the markets. The UPND cannot control what their members do in the markets. It leaves a terrible bad taste. There is no market in Zambia that has ever been built by a political party. All the markets have been built by taxpayers' money, funded by the Zambian people themselves. And so these public spaces must remain apolitical, must be neutral. There should be no presence of political cadres or political parties in markets and bus stations. Is that the new norm that the UPND now are showing the nation? Then all of us political parties, GPZ should have a branch in the markets, well branded, that this is a GP office at City Market. Is that the kind of confusion that the UPND are now proposing to the Zambian people?
United Party for National Development, former campaign team member Benny Hachombwa, among others, have petitioned the police compelling them to institute investigations against the Patriotic Front administration on matters relating to political violence leading to the death of some people and mismanagement of public resources. Speaking at Lusaka Central Police Station Monday, Mr. Hajomwe has pleaded with the police to look into their request and that those that will be found wanting should be brought to book.
Zambia in the recent years has witnessed increasing brutal crackdown on human rights, characterized by brazen attacks on any form of dissent. The crackdown also led to an escalation of the excessive use of force by the police, which has been fatal in some cases. Meanwhile, among the number of promises by the United Party for National Development is to facilitate justice for the victim of such vices. Speaking to the media Monday, a mother to the late Sydney Monga, 17, allegedly shot dead by a police officer, narrates her story and demands for justice for her son.
Medicine ene kosi ya mneninga kwani se through na ben ya mneni pitamu ndana bamba kudawa tatowa namba kudwala bachwana 2011 nimagulisa maveji no shoka medicine parodi kutuja mwana afike grade 12 then tabe trained police officer kwendo npaira mwana mamichi mani baba and sinima funa kuona na kapokola sometimes umenso mwanga ndani mamvera mutima natikaza ngati nezo wana nipata pelaini vanipana vana vanga kuchaso kuona nisiri
Meanwhile, UPND former campaign team member Vene Hachombwa and colleagues have petitioned for police investigations against Patriotic Front administration on these matters.
But we are wondering up to now, we are almost 2 months in office and we've not seen any varied report from all these deaths. I think from here, if this letter will not give us any results, like we said, we shall make sure that we petition the office of the Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Jack Member. If the Minister won't give us results by 30th October, we will petition the office of the President, because the President and ourselves, as we are campaigning, we promised all these people. We promised this man. This man lost his child. His son went to campaign in KANYAMA during the Sesheke by-election, and his son was shot. And up to now, the police have not issued any statement.
Not only that, they also demand for investigation in matters such as the expired medicines.
And up to now, the police have not issued any statement. It is now 2 years, 3 years. So all these things that happened under the PF regime, we've not forgotten also to touch a very important issue of the 48 houses. This is the matter that is in the public domain, and there is no question about it. And it's not a secret. We want to know who owns those 48 houses. We want to know where Faith Musonda got the money. Because if the police issued a statement to say they will remain mute, we as the people of Zambia will not remain mute. We as UPND will not remain mute. If the police will not act professionally.
It is the hope of the affected that the police should consider the petition and ensure justice to prevail. Alex Chimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
President Hakainde Hichilema says Zambia is headed for a great economic recovery as different stakeholders from the international community have expressed interest in working with the new government. Speaking to journalists upon arrival from the United Nations General Assembly at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport Monday, the head of state says bilateral and multilateral talks with international heads at the just-ended UN General Assembly in New York show that the new government has gained the trust of different stakeholders. He adds that until there is economic recovery, solving problems such as youth unemployment will remain a challenge.
Expectations from Zambian citizens are high after Republican President Hakainde Hichilema's visit to the United States of America, where he was attending the United Nations General Assembly UNGA and also engaging in bilateral and multilateral talks with different stakeholders from the international community. The head of state left the country on 19 September 2021 for New York and returned Monday via Kenneth Kaunda International Airport aboard Fly Emirates. He was received by different stakeholders from the ruling party as well as political party youth leaders. Addressing the media at the airport, the head of state has remained hopeful that the just-ended talks with international leaders in New York will result in economic revival.
It's more than the IMF. We shouldn't reduce it to the IMF. It is representing the broader interest of the people of Zambia. And I believe we did that effectively. And Zambians are yet to see the benefits, and they will see those benefits very soon. The key is that we must reconstruct the economy. And unless we reconstruct the economy, we cannot create jobs. We cannot support health, we cannot support education. So economic reconstruction is number one, and we set this agenda. We will not waver around it. We will stay focused. We know that's where the benefits are.
President Hichilema asked that while the country is in desperate need of resources which could boost certain areas of the economy, his government will not meddle in the affairs of investigative wings but allow them to conduct their work in a professional manner.
Very clear that we will be civil about it, we will be legal about it, we will not use the political hammer, we will allow the institutions, oversight institutions who are mandated legally to deal with corruption. They will deal with corruption. We expect them to do it professionally. The Zambians want them to do what they're paid for to do. We will give them the political will, and they will get that will. Make no mistake about it.
He has further called on citizens to exercise patience with the new government, adding that the fulfillment of many of the election promises is dependent on the state of the economy. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, President Hakainde Hichilema has with immediate effect appointed Dr. DENNY as Bank of Zambia governor in line with Article 214 of the Constitution of Zambia. Dr. Kalyalayya served as Bank of Zambia governor under the Patriotic Front administration from 2015 to 2020 and was replaced by Dr. Patrick Vunga, who recently resigned. President Hichilema has also appointed Demas Molilo Kabesha as Attorney General, while Mr. Masho Mubambe has been appointed as Solicitor General in line with the Republican Constitution, Articles 177 and 179. Meanwhile, all these appointments are subject to ratification by the National Assembly. This is according to a statement issued to Camnet TV by President Hakainde's Special Assistant, Anthony Walia. Ministry of Technology and Science has given Smart Zambia Electronic Government Division 10 days to disclose to government on how they are going to use data platforms to wipe out linkages of revenue in the country, stating that speaking when he toured Smart Zambia offices, Minister in charge of Technology, Felix Mutati, says the country is eager to know how the nation is progressing in the elimination of these linkages. Mr. Mutati has added that people want to see an open government that will use data platforms to access government services.
The Ministry of Technology and Science was created to provide effective leadership of the government in the development, coordination and promotion of electronic government services. In collaboration with intergovernment institutions such as the Smart Zambia Electronic Government Division, the ministry wishes to reach an improved efficiency and effective Zambia through the use of technology. Ministry of Technology and Science has given Smart Zambia Electronic Government Division 10 days to disclose to government on how they are going to use data platforms to wipe out linkages of revenue in the country.
To have a roadmap. Tell us, how do we get the passengers that are standing on the sidelines to get on the bus, which is moving on the highway? We need to keep it simple for the citizens, isn't it? It's not sophisticated. You don't need to be a guru, you just need to understand what requires to be done. And tied to that, on a government-wide system, you have these people who are gifted with ingenuity. So he would be on FISIP, getting whatever he gets, isn't it? He's going to be on social cash transfer.
Mr. Mutati says people want to see an open government that will use the data platforms to access government services.
And we need to do it as a matter of urgency. The Minister of Finance hasn't got many options to raise revenue in 2022. And one of the options that he has got is sealing revenue leakages. It will help us. So let's not be saturated with the big words, government service bus. Keep it simple so that the citizens are able to understand you. That what we have done is one, under FISIP, under this one, simple language, isn't it? Let's not get into the politics of we are preserving territory.
The ministry will use the Smart Zambia Electronic Government Division to ensure effective coordination and implementation of an electronic government through the provision of common digital platforms and systems to facilitate government to citizens. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Green Economy and Environment Minister Colin Zovo has revealed that Zambia is still struggling with climate change due to high levels of deforestation and the emission of fossil fuels. Speaking when the British High Commissioner to Zambia, Mr. Nicholas Woolley, paid a courtesy call on him Monday, Mr. Zovo states that the ministry is, however, confident of combating climate change with the help of development partners such as the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, the British High Commissioner to Zambia, Nicholas Woolley, has urged the new ministry to advocate for green economy through ways such as promoting climate-smart agricultural practices.
This ministry, and with a strong partnership with friends like the UK, we are confident that we are going to address multiple challenges of climate change, environmental degradation and deforestation while pursuing green growth and creating jobs for our people. I'm aware, Your Excellency, of the common interests that we share both at bilateral and multilateral levels with the government, and we intend to strengthen and consolidate them. I'm also aware that you are currently supporting other areas of work, including on climate-smart agriculture, working with the communities and the private sector.
I congratulated you, Honourable Minister, on the creation of your new ministry for the green economy and the environment. I think it speaks very much to the importance with which both our governments see the importance of addressing not just the effects of climate change and the environment, but also economic growth, and economic growth that is sustainable, that mitigates the impact on its environment and is equitable and spread across all people, so that all people benefit from growth, increasing incomes, livelihoods.
Government says the country has continued experiencing issues relating to severe weather effects and waterborne outbreaks that are pushing environmental health to the limit. Speaking as guest on honor during the commemoration of this year's World Environmental Health Day, Acting Chipata District Commissioner Kapem Wasikazwe says environmental health promotes good health living and prolongs life of the entire generation. Mrs. Skazwe urged members of the public to observe cleanliness in their homes, trading premises, and take care of solid waste disposal.
Good public health strategic plans play an effective role in safeguarding the lives of people in many communities. The Chipata City Council commemorated the World Environmental Health Day, which falls on September 26th annually. This year's World Environmental Health Day commemoration was celebrated under the theme Prioritizing Environmental Health for Healthier Communities in Global Recovery. Acting Chipata District Commissioner Kapemba Skazwe was guest of honor.
As a country, we have continued experiencing issues relating to severe weather effects and waterborne outbreaks, thereby pushing environmental health to the limit. And addressing environmental issues like climate change, food safety and security, sanitation, water and air quality, and the spread of vector-borne diseases are the most paramount functions for environmental health professionals or practitioners in our country. So I appeal to all of you to ensure that you live in a clean environment, because a clean environment is what will dictate whether we'll be sick or not.
So Public Health Director Donald Mwanza said the local authority is working hard to sensitize people on the importance of maintaining public health standards as a way of preventing disease outbreaks.
Various diseases that may be water or airborne all come from the environment. Hence the importance of this day is that we raise awareness so that people understand the importance of this to take care of our environment. As environment health officers, we do various functions and duties to ensure that we protect the well-being of the people of Chipata. Some of them that we do, one of them is waste management, collection of waste, sweeping of the streets, markets, and disposing it off to the rightful dump site so that our residents are clean as well as the markets where we trade from are clean.
Environmental health promotes human well-being by way of fostering a safe and healthy environment that is both built and natural. Sylvester Shimba for Zanis in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
You're watching Camnet News. We take a break. Join me shortly for more interesting stories.
In our quest to save nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via WOW Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
You're still watching Camnet News. Thank you for staying on. The Foundation for Democratic Process, FODEP, has called on the United Party for National Development government to consult stakeholders such as political parties in the governance process. Speaking to Camnet TV, FODEP Executive Director George Chimembe says there is need to change the narrative of opposition political parties being seen as enemies, stating that they should instead be seen as partners in national development. The FODEP Executive Director has also called on civil society organizations to aggressively advocate for the adoption of a political parties bill which will ensure that political parties are governed by laws.
In multi-party democracies like Zambia, ruling political parties often have to contend with opposition political parties who seem to be on the ready to attack every move of the party in government. The Foundation for Democratic Process, FODEP, however, states that Zambia needs to change this narrative and create an example for other democratic countries, especially in Africa, by redefining the role of opposition political parties in a democracy. In an interview with Camnet News, FODEP Executive Director Mr. George Chimembe states that the government and opposition political parties should be able to work together as development partners.
And so when we tender our criticisms, our critique, we also have to give government alternatives. We call that alternative thinking. What is the alternative to this? If this can't work, you don't have to wait as opposition until 2036 when you have the chances of maybe forming government for you to come and actualize your proposals. That's not the way things should work. The president should even schedule maybe 2 retreats with political party leaders. They go to Mfuwe, the way Kaunda used to do. Of course, Kaunda used to go alone. But they go as these political parties. Let's have a round table meeting. What is working, what is not working? I mean, opposition parties and the ruling party are targeting the same Zambians, the same people. So we have the same common cause. And that's what we need, to work at.
Mr. Chimembe has also urged civil society to see to it that the political party bill, which will, among other things, compel political parties to review the sources of funding for elections, is adopted now that Parliament has resumed.
And the efforts were made by the former Justice Minister, but for some reasons, we don't know, that process was halted. So we need civil society, and even political parties to begin advocating for the introduction of this bill in Parliament. Then it can also talk to issues to do with fundraising for campaign activities and how much should a political party pump in their campaign activities, including disclosing the sources of those funding for campaign activities.
He has called on Zambia to be outstanding in the way it practices democracy so as to set an example for other African countries and the rest of the world. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Bwana Mkobwa, Independent Member of Parliament on the Copper Belt, Warren Mwambazi, says there is need to strengthen enforcement institutions like the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Drug Enforcement Commission, and the Auditor General's report, as this means that corruption will be fought easier. Mr. Mwambazi notes that the fight against corruption is deep-rooted as a result of having crippled enforcement institutions to fight the scourge. He has, to this effect, called for the change of policy that will help give power to the heads of these institutions in the fight against corruption. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwambazi has stressed on the need for civil servants and all public office bearers to be investigated while still holding to their positions, as this will help reduce the rate at which people are involved in corrupt activities.
Office holders, we need to be above board. Very, very important. I did work for the government for over 15 years in the audit department, and I came out of it. So it's important that as leaders we lead by example. We've got declarations we've given at Parliament. control the network, and let's be of service. First is servitude. Let's work for the people there. Then the rest of the things come just as civilian benefits. So it's important that we propagate the best people and work and be accountable. We are all accountable to something. Even as humans, we are accountable to God. So as we people be accountable for public resources. Even my fellow members, it's important that we live above board and we also live.
Workers at Mukoyo Ventures, a company that's constructing the Mwembeshi Maximum Prison, Monday, 27th of September 2021, downed tools demanding better conditions of service. The protesting workers claim they have been working without contracts from 2016 when the project commenced. The workers want government through the Ministry of Labour to look into their plight.
The story of casualization has been an issue for a long time in the country, despite commitments by the government to address it. In order to curb casualization, the government amended the Employment Act in 2015. However, many workers are still victims of casualization in the country. And just recently, this journalist spoke to the Zambia Congress of Trade Unions ZCTU General Secretary Cosmas Mukuka, who said casualization must not be allowed to thrive under the United Party for National Development Administration.
The definition of casualization is you have jobs of permanent nature, but people are hiding into termination of contracts, which are also resulting into casualization. If your contract ends in 2 years, when if you have finished the 2 years and your record is very good, we should renew the contract.
However, this trend seems to be far from over. These are workers at Mukoyo Ventures constructing Mwembeshi Maximum Prison, and on Monday, 27th August 2021, they downed tools demanding better conditions of service.
We are chanting forward because we voted out the past regime, the government which was not supporting us. They were against us, but we have voted for the UPND regime in order for change. We need change.
So if it's tunga police kuseleza drama ni simono so tufuna at least knife myself but we are gonna ko inkani ya chani ya drama vitu metuma ngana vitu ifan mili maniki pa sites
ise pale pakamba ni temu tuona ise magadi tuseme zina forte kwacha ero ndise tusunga katundu kakamba but muntu so abantu bamwe kutuyanga napo.
They say they expect things to improve under the new government.
Nishinchita kukutambia andi na panopa murembo na neure dandaura never supervisor bombera forte kwacha pede iyo forte kwacha yo mbombera ngamwapenda mwa government muri 26 nde kwata 1000 forte kwacha 1000 kwacha tapari ifya ile mbombera ndesta mo felimbi container ya sarati mwe butepe tuafurisheni batate twari mi vote na bayechechi turolekesha nipo fwe bana benu pali ino company Mukoyo Ventures Mwembeshi chimboka ila construction tuafurisheni ninzi shibapa naponderanda maira bakantamcha tito pamrandi wakuranda pafishinga
fo mutoka ukisainisha bamwe bachupa kote twachimudego no government tuafweni watu kutalipa turabomba no ifindi vyonzo vya kupera pama live days ama holidays turati independence yonse turabomba no tego besu tuafweni.
Later in the day, management engaged the workers and Camnet TV was informed of the outcomes. Among them is that they have been given contracts, although they seem not to be convinced. Human Resource Manager Robert Mulwa told Camnet News that measures are being put in place to address the plight of the workers. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Zambia Association of Parents for Children with Disability has called for close collaboration with various stakeholders in supporting parents tending to children living with cross-cutting disabilities countrywide. In an exclusive interview with Camnet TV, Organization National Coordinator Astrida Kunda has noted that stigma and discrimination is still high towards persons living with disability, which she says affects the freedom of assembly for both the parents and the victims. Meanwhile, Ms. Kunda has urged government to come up with deliberate policies that will enable these children access basic opportunities such as education without any difficulty.
According to the World Health Organization, it is estimated that about 1.3 million persons in Zambia have some form of disability, representing 10% of the total population. On the other hand, the 2010 census of population and housing indicates that 2% of the country's population is disabled, and 0.4% are children under age of 14 years. Stigmatization and discrimination still remains something persons living with disabilities have to endure, especially their parents. Zambia Association of Parents for Children with Disabilities, ZAMBIA'S, has therefore called on collaboration among various stakeholders in supporting parents looking after children living with various disabilities across the country. Ms. Astrida Kunda is ZAMBIA'S National Coordinator.
At ward level, the councillors, the MPs, they should also be planning for children with disabilities. Now, if they are not accepted in the programs of the community, it means that they are left behind, and it's a very big challenge.
Ms. Kunda adds that government should come up with deliberate programs that will enable children access basic opportunities such as education.
Because this is their mandate as a government to take care of each and every citizen, including children with disabilities. So the government should be in the forefront of taking care of these children, especially on the social cash transfer. Children with disabilities should be #1 priority because their parents, a lot of them are mothers. Their fathers are nowhere to be seen, and a lot of them are not working, meaning it's hard out there to take care of a child with a disability, with the so many demands that comes with taking care of a child with a disability.
And ZAMBIA'S Program Officer, Charity Tembo, highlights the need for sensitization among parents.
That persons with disabilities have. There's even a quote in that convention that talks about parents of children sending their children to school. If they don't, there's a penalty that they're supposed to pay. So we actually advocate for the inclusion of children with disabilities.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Pensions and Insurance Authority has disclosed that the insurance industry in 2020 recorded a growth rate of 27.75% despite the negative effects of the COVID-19. In quantum, gross written premium increased to 4,568 million kwacha from 3,576 million kwacha in 2020. Meanwhile, general insurance stood at 2,973 million kwacha, while long-term stood at 1,594 million kwacha. Speaking at the 2021 Insurance Week press briefing in Lusaka Monday, PIA Acting Deputy Registrar Insurance, Mrs. Namakau Ntini, said the authority recognizes the consumer education initiatives are integral in enhancing insurance uptake in the country.
Studies have shown that one of the main reasons why people do not take up insurance is lack of information on insurance. Though results from the 2020 FinScope survey show that the number of people that do not know insurance has decreased to 40.9% from 80.1% in 2015. Insurance Week is an annual activity aimed at raising awareness on sector activities with the view of making people understand the value of insurance. This year's Insurance Week is being commemorated from 27th September to 3rd October 2021 under the theme Creating a Confident Future with Insurance. Pensions and Insurance Authority Acting Deputy Registrar Mrs. Namakau Ntini said the authority is committed to developing the insurance industry and does recognize that consumer education initiatives are integral to this process.
We note that we need to do a lot in the long-term insurance sector or the life sector because statistics have shown that this is what drives growth in the various markets across the globe. For 2021, notwithstanding the effects that COVID-19 have had on the industry, the mid-year and audited results are showing some positive growth in terms of the industry statistics, and the combined industry gross written premium as at the 30th of June 2021 stood at 3.6 billion kwacha.
Mrs. Ntini also stated that the authority has been implementing various projects aimed at increasing insurance uptake, especially for the informal sector and rural areas.
Hence, the authority, in collaboration with industry, is committed to ensuring that the public is adequately educated on the benefits of insurance. We believe this will help to increase the uptake of insurance as the public, through consumer education activities such as the Insurance Week, have an opportunity to learn how insurance works, and they can also interact with the various products that are on the market. Consumer education initiatives also help policyholders to know their rights and obligations, which is a key aspect in providing customers. During the same press briefing, the authority also provided highlights of the market performance for 2020 and the first half of 2021. On another note, I'm happy to announce that Zambia is one of 4 countries that have been selected to participate in the Access to Inclusive Insurance, or A2II. Wish to note that A2II is an implementing arm of the International Association of Insurance Supervisors. And this year they are running the 3rd Inclusive Insurance Lab that is running from 2021 to 2022. This Inclusive Insurance Lab is a test and learn environment in which the following countries, Costa Rica, Grenada, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, will work on innovative, inclusive insurance solutions to tackle the impact of climate change, especially among the vulnerable segments of their country populations.
The industry players incurred a total of 1.4 billion in net claims in 2020 compared to the 1 billion that was recorded in 2019, a true testimony to the need that insurers provide cover at a time when needed. The general insurance companies paid out a total of 667 million in 2020 compared to 488 million in 2019, while the life companies paid out net claims and benefits of 715 million compared to the 517 million in 2019.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
You're still watching Camnet News. We take another set of commercials. When we return, we have sports and international news. Stay with us.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via WOW Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying on. The general who heads Sudan's ruling transitional authority is pledged to reform the army days after a failed coup. Sudan is led by a civilian military administration under the August 2019 power-sharing deal signed after President Omar al-Bashir ousted by the military in April 2019. Sudan's government said it frustrated a September 21st coup attempt involving military officers and civilians linked to the regime of imprisoned Bashir. At least 11 officers were among those arrested. Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok has since called for reforms within the army, a highly sensitive issue in Sudan.
Sudan's army ruler on Sunday vowed to reform the military days after his government said it broke up a coup attempt by a section of officers loyal to former President Omar al-Bashir. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan was at a ceremony to launch a new ward at Khartoum's Heart Hospital. Sudan's fragile transition, already plagued by infighting, an economic crisis and power struggles, was shaken by a coup attempt last Tuesday. We pledge to cleanse the armed forces and not to leave any former regime member. And this is what we say to everyone. Those who were arrested in the last coup attempt, we will announce their affiliations and bring them to trials. The military institution is non-partisan, and we will not allow any partisan activity to take place among our forces. As armed forces, we are not a party. Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok has since called for reforms within the army, a highly sensitive issue in Sudan. The country's security forces are said to be divided and lacking cohesion. Former Army Colonel Theonest Bagosora died in a hospital in Mali where he was serving his 35-year sentence for his role in the genocide. He was 80. The news of his death was announced by his son in a Facebook post. In 2008, the then International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, sitting in Arusha, Tanzania, sentenced Bagosora to life in prison after being found guilty of genocide and crimes against humanity. In 2011, upon appeal, the sentence was revised to 35 years in prison. Bagosora was a key figure in President Juvenal Habyarimana's government and party, whose death after his plane was struck by a missile on April 6, 1994, triggered the killings.
Economic Freedom Fighters EFF launched its manifesto on Sunday. The party, which often describes itself as an anti-imperialist and leftist movement, did not hold back in emphasizing the party's capacities of picking up the slack of what it called the current incapable local government. Thousands of people dressed in red and black came to hear Julius Malema, leader of the EFF, as the party launches its manifesto ahead of the local elections on November 1.
Our manifesto is based on the truthful observation that our people are landless, our people are jobless. Our manifesto is based on the truthful observation that local government is incapable. Our manifesto is based on truthful observation that many people in South Africa still not have access to water.
The party's manifesto is based on 7 pillars of economic freedom. The party vowed to create jobs for the youth instead of giving tenders to the connected few.
The other party have been reigning for a long time but doing nothing.
And I hope young people are going to come up in numbers and vote for EFF, because EFF is the solution for unemployment. EFF is the solution for poverty. FF is fighting for land, for everything that is South Africa is facing.
The party in power launches its official campaign on Monday, even if the head of state Cyril Ramaphosa, who is also the head of ANC, has been taking public trips for the past 10 days dressed in green and yellow.
Let's now look at sports news. Sports for Life has embarked on a sporting orientation training that will see many young people who are passionate about sport learn how to facilitate sporting events. Organization coordinator Leo says about 30 participants across the country have been selected to train as implementers and organizers of sporting activities.
The Sport for Life team currently in Zambia has continued to engage various stakeholders as they embark on a sports orientation training that will see many young people who are interested and passionate about sports learn how to facilitate sports events. In an interview with Camnet Sports for Life Africa coordinator says about 30 participants across the country have been selected to train as implementers and organizers of sports events.
Split in 2 stages. We'll have a 2-week workshop starting from today until October 9th, when we will empower and train 22 participants from all parts of Zambia. This workshop will focus on organizing sport events, and the second week is a train the trainer, so that the participants can replicate the project afterwards in their communities. In the second stage, we will have a...
Morale says Sports for Life will work in collaboration with the participants to enhance sports activities in Zambia.
We can facilitate the work of replication. When the participants are already part of a structure in sports, it's become much easier then to organize events, organize sports activities with the children. So that was the 2 main criteria. Of course, a good level of English is required so that the participant can be active in the workshop.
A National Olympic Committee of Zambia board member says there is great need for the board to change people's mindsets towards the Olympic Games.
Historical, as you know, that since independence, Zambia has only managed to get 2 medals, which is not good for a country like Zambia. And for your own record, since independence, Zambia has never minted any gold medal from the Olympics. So that is a historical problem which we need to address. And we think that one of the issues that we need to look at is to have a deliberate policy on...
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Well, that's where we wrap up for news this evening. The headlines once again. KANYAMA losing Patriotic Front. Lawmaker tells the court that the UPND CHANTS on the voting day costed her election. President HH returns home with renewed hope of recovering Zambia's economy. Dr. DENNY KALYALAYA back as central bank governor. In international news, Sudan's BURHAN vows army reforms after attempted coup. And in sports news, Sport for Life embarks on a program to train sports managers. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, and it's coming from Isaiah 26 verse 3 to 4, and it reads, "You will keep the mind that is independent on you in perfect peace, for it is trusting in you. Trust in the Lord forever, because in Yahweh the Lord is an everlasting rock." Thank you so much for choosing us. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. Good night.